are kind of counteracting G2's equation here, but there you are, Vetty, the Kled coming through.
I feel like initial glances, I prefer G2's comp just a little bit more. The main reason being, a lot of Koi's damage portfolio is in their mid and AD carry. Whereas if you contrast that to G2, it feels like that everyone can be a damage threat, which makes Koi's approach to the team fight that much more limited. You're going to have Wukong and Kled threatening the backline. You're going to have Cassio threatening the front line. There's going to be a lot of damage options and ways for G2 to approach these flanks, and that's not even factoring in Labrov and his ability to find those flanks on the Rakan. Whereas for Koi, I feel like a very strict front to back. I feel like Jojo's going to have to apply pressure on the side lane, and they're going to try and use that Rise ultimate to create numbers advantage or find picks onto G2.
I do think, though, if MKOI can get off to an early lead, they are in a fantastic spot. This is a composition that can control objective space very, very well and make it difficult for things like the Rakan and the Wukong to have multiple angles of attack. And with the way Elyoya was playing yesterday, that's where G2 have to be scared. This man was on a mission to dictate the pace of the early game, and now on this Maokai, he can set up for some dives, he can try and play around Alvaro, and that has been the key to MKOI's success.
And here we are getting ready for game one. A brief moment of tension, claps, cheers, thundersticks, but to a much lesser degree, teams know what's at stake here in this first match. All the momentum MKOI had built up, taking down Fnatic yesterday, absolutely smashing them. Could fizzle if things falter, if they fall apart in this game, and the same is true for G2. They have fallen short in the finals 2 times already. It's weighing on the player's mind, even if they try to toss it aside. So all eyes on these lineups and what they can show us in this game one.
It's an exciting one. It is, of course, a rematch of the spring finals. MKOI got the better of G2 to the surprise of many, I would say. Especially when we think back and going into that series, G2, they had done exactly what they've done in this playoffs. They already beat Koi, knocked them down into the losers bracket. Koi then had a 5-game series against KC, and everyone's thinking, well, the fact that they're being pushed this much by KC, they've already lost to G2, surely Koi can't bounce back, but they were credited for their preparation. They came in with a clear game plan of how to shut G2 down. And the question is, will that game plan come through once again here in today's finals?
And that's the thing, it feels like this is a different version of MKOI. There was kind of doubts leveraged towards them going into that, but MKOI look more than capable of taking on G2, and I think that's where a lot of people now coming into today are wondering what level has G2 managed to reach, because MKOI looking great against Fnatic yesterday. And I think it'll be on the newer members of G2, Skewmund and Labrov, to try and match Elyoya and Alvaro's pressure on the map and try and get themselves into a position where they can contest MKOI in the mid-game.
It's a very good question, of course. A lot of arguments for both sides, anticipation of what we'll see, but you can vote in the chat now, MKOI or G2, regardless of where you're at. Keep us posted on who your favorites are in this particular matchup, because very soon, if someone gets like a double or a triple kill, it'll sway the vote. This is the only untainted vote we will get, as we see Broken Blade on the top side, making the most of playing Kled in the very obnoxious little rage bar there that's going to allow him to remount.
Now, of course, we here at the LEC love to inform our viewers through statistics. Isn't that right, Drake?
That is
so
true.
Let's have a quick look at some of the all-time head-to-head history between these two teams, including the Mad Lions organization. You can see that the head-to-head all-time in terms of series is somewhat one-sided.
Yes.
But so far this year...
Hold that thought. Level 2 all in. This is the classic of the matchup. They're just going to fist fight for first blood for JoJo!
JoJo flashing over the Q damage and sets up to draw first blood in this series.
I was not expecting them to fist fight at level 3, but Caps, he goes in super aggressive to land that Q, and JoJo flashes to avoid it. By dodging that poison, it means that the damage coming through from the E is heavily mitigated, and he's able to find the outplay. JoJo kicks off this series with first blood.
And what we heard from the death from Goldberg, he trusts JoJo to contain Caps. This might be a different story. All in on the bottom side. Alvaro's still stepping up with a blinking health bar. Labrov quickly going to backstep, very close to that early 2v2 kill. And Elyoya is here, but the Scryers bloom just in time. Skewmund here to cover.
And these two teams love to get bloody in the bottom side. Every time these two teams have faced up this year, there has been a duo kill in that bottom lane, and it looked like Alvaro was nearly going to be on the business one of that end to start it off.
And he was, as JoJo. Still has to be careful. Baseline kit power. If If Caps is hitting, the Noxious Blast, the instant Twin Fang follow, it's still a massive amount of damage. And while mana is good for Ryze, Jojo, you know, the first base doesn't feel great for Ryze ever.
I really do hope we can get a replay of what happened, because Jojo, like, he did such a smart thing. Cassio's early levels are so scary just because of how quickly she can chunk you down, even at level 2. But once if you can dodge the poison, her damage just disappears.
50%. It's just 50% damage.
And this is the thing that we saw from Jojo yesterday when Poby was trying to trade onto Jojo's Yone. He wasn't going backwards, he was going forwards. That's how he responds to aggression, by meeting you head first. And the fact that he just comes into today, game 1, feeling comfortable on the stage, as we expected him to be, finding that first blood, super impressive stuff.
I think it's also traditionally when you see a mid laner flash like that, you're like, okay, now you've got a target on your back, especially with Miasma on the opposite side. You can set up for that jungle pressure. But by not having something like the Vi and going with the Wukong, there is way less pressure on towards this mid lane. So I don't think Jojo is really going to be punished for his flash being down. And he'll just manage to get this early lead, hit that level 6 quicker, and have that opportunity to influence the map because of it.
All right, well, I don't quite know when the votes were cashed in. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner right above the lovely Mary Bomboy logo. But there seems to be some G2 fans in the chat. Obviously, we've lost a lot of MKOI fans from the chat as they're here in person, probably not voting. Jojo will survive. Nice support coming in from Alvaro. A lot of mid-lane attention already in the context of this first game.
Ooh, okay, so we are going to get a look back. So there, the Noxious Blast does land. You can see the damage that's coming through from Caps, but he flashes to avoid that second Q. And then he gets the level up in the middle of the fight as well. Cool, calm, collected.
I mean, credit to Jojopyun, right? That is a heads-up play. That kind of flash is the make or break in a 1v1. Level 3 also saving the day a little bit as MKOI have repositioned Supa up to the top side of the map. Bot lane matched, of course, by the side of G2. Neither side has taken a major objective quite yet. Yoya seeing maybe if he needs to support mid lane once again, but Labrov and Alvaro matching each other in just about every single play in this early game.
Yeah, they have spent a lot of time hovering around mids. I think it's really important for Jojo specifically, and I was going to say because this is traditionally a bad matchup, but after getting that first blood, of course, feeling a lot more comfortable, but I still think it's wise for Alvaro to just offer that protection, make it harder, as you were saying earlier, to punish the flashless Ryze in mid lane.
We're also just going to see the polar lanes as well with the swap, as I think Hansama has kind of created this slow push in the top side, which I imagine is to try and set up for these Void Grubs in a little bit of time, as now you're going to have both supports joining in the top side.
Just trading blows. Alvaro trying to make the most of the Titan's Wrath, although knock up there. Hansama not in a great position to continue autoing. Still trading blows a little bit. Supa only level 5, so does need to be a little bit safe. Hansama not getting too much done there.
This is what I was talking about with the early level 6. You got that roam towards the top side as Broken Blade. Don't think he'd be able to get the kill, but look how much pressure from MKOI is being shifted towards that top half of the map. They really want to make sure they can keep Hansama and Labrov in check, especially as this wave starts to push out.
Does make a lot of sense. Of course, on the bottom side of the map, it does leave Broken Blade in this isolated counter pick 1v1, so he is steadily accruing that gold advantage. But neither side feels like they have a big enough pressure advantage, big enough map state advantage to go for one of those objectives quite yet. One of the closest early games I think we've seen in this playoffs.
Miles on the junglers as well. Skewmon yet to tick over to level 6. He will just now do it. Elyoya getting that slight advantage, but now both junglers have reached those ultimate breakpoints. It means that their presence on the map should be that much greater. Dagda was talking about it earlier. The amount of control that MKOI's composition has around these neutral objectives is largely driven by the Maokai. The saplings, the ultimate, the amount of space that you can just acquire due to his presence will force G2 to have to play very respectfully when looking to contest these neutral objectives. But now that they've got the push on the top side, these grubs should be an easy contest. But look in mid lane, Elyoya threatening a play onto Caps.
Keep in mind, G2 don't have any vision in that brush. You saw missing pings when Jojopyun stepped up. They weren't quite sure where he had went. They don't have information on Elyoya. Caps has to be careful, but there's Elyoya immediately flashing out. Stun is not going to connect. Nice backstep by Jojo. Caps now running him down. Ulti from Elyoya is a bit of a root, but they don't really have the damage to finish. Caps playing with confidence. MKOI can't punish.
Caps pushes them both back. Jojo, again, with fantastic mechanics, steps away from the ultimate of Caps to avoid getting rooted up. Caps thinks that he actually has kill threat onto Jojo, so he's forced to retreat, and Elyoya flashing with the initial engage means that he's forced out of the fight as well. The bot lane of Koi, though, don't want to give this up completely uncontested. They know that TP from Ryze is back in the action, and Elyoya will arrive to mean that it'll be 2 Krubs to 1 in favor of G2.
I think G2 will just be happy with the fact that they're starting to push back MKOI, right? Flash on Elyoya down and his ultimate down makes him significantly less threatening on the map states. And if you can try and keep yourself safe, let Caps have that opportunity to scale into the later portion of the game, you're already seeing how much damage this Cassiopeia does, and it's not exactly like it falls off the later the game goes.
And he kept Flash.
Yeah.
If you just start raid bossing enemy mid-jungle, even after dying in the first few levels, that is a fantastic position to be in, and that is the raw damage output. The sustain as well from the healing on this Wind Fang. It makes Cassio so frustrating to play against. The later we go, of course, can be a vulnerable champion. Very difficult to execute. But for now in the lane phase, Caps making good on the counter pick despite the initial fumble.
That was a huge sapling that was unintentional, I think, from Elyoya. Managed to catch Skumond as Caps had got the miasma down. I think they were looking for that combo in the mid lane to finish off Jojo, but not able to get it thanks to the slow.
2. Root is solid. Alvaro not wasting any subs yet.
Level 6 for LeBron.
Full committal here. Ulti comes out from Supa. Barrier already down, but both sides continuing to poke and prod. It really does look like they're just going to fist fight, but instead just trading cooldowns.
I really think that was just great pressure from Lebrov, because the moment he ticked over to level 6, I thought the same thing that Supa did, which is they're about to all-in us. Lebrov is going to ulti, he's going to threaten me, I'm going to barrier early in anticipation of this, but he holds it. He holds the ultimate, Hans holds the ultimate, instead they choose to back off and they'll just take off with a superior trade.
And in these small little interactions, we're seeing that it's G2 are coming out in favor of the summoner spells. You say the barrier was burnt there in that exchange. Elyoya on that last one after burn his flash. Still no dragons taken, which I assumed was going to be kind of the next attempt at an engagement. And it looks like G2, at least with the resets coming through now, are going to send their bot laners down here to try and set that up.
Very much agree. I think that looks to be the next game plan. Neither top laner has TP and they're both relatively low. Quick back from Broken Blade is going to come through as he wants to leave the wave state. Mirwin going to respond in kind. So both teams on the same page as Alvaro pops that ghost to threaten to play onto Caps. But again, supports find themselves in mid lane, right place, right time. Both Alvaro and Lebrov really locked in. And I think this is one of the biggest developments we've seen from Lebrov throughout the year. Biggest criticism from Winter was that this man was not locked in. He was making a ton of mistakes, getting caught out of position in that first final. But now we see his presence much more on the map. We're seeing him properly cover for Caps, working with Skumond a lot more than we've seen in the past. And he's definitely a player that we have our eyes on in this series to step up and help G2 secure a title in 2025.
Yeah, and at the moment it feels like it's kind of just, hey, we want to be hands off, right? Lebrov hasn't gone for these engages. G2 haven't really tried to threaten. Instead, it kind of feels like, hey, we know that we have a good scaling on this mid lane, or at least wait for these 2 items to come through in the Cassiopeia, and then we can look to fight. So the longer that these dragons stay off the field, I think they're going to be happy with. But on MKOI side, it's not like they are slouches when it comes to scaling. Like the Sion will scale well, the Yunara will scale well, but G2 just convinced that this Cassiopeia will be enough come that late game.
Certainly a lot of tools for them to start fights as well, and Wukong also an excellent scaling pick in the jungle. You can see why they don't really feel too fussed. Neither side starting to stack dragons means there's no upcoming guaranteed fight, right? No objective that you need to be willing to fight or die for. Few minutes still, of course, until the Herald is up and available. Jojo Pune's still the gold leader in this game, but of course Cassio doesn't need to stop along the way for boots, so already the Roa completed for Caps.
Tense final we find ourselves in as the game is even. Caps losing out a little bit on the HP department. Emotes being thrown. The vibes seem good on the stage today.
The poke there from Supa. Fully stacked on the Q, continuing to walk up. Another ulti proc. It seems like just to get pressure here on the bottom side.
Yeah, I think with the lack of HP on Caps in that mid lane, they're feeling comfortable enough to try and set up with the push on bot for the Dragon. Caps kind of being forced towards that top side, and Jojo still has the Realm Warp if he needs to reposition quickly.
Caps though moving into the bot river. Skumond is in the area as well. Looks like G2's not going to give this one up without a fight.
Supa has access to the flash. Alvaro maybe starting to retreat, but the hook didn't quite connect on the wall. Elyoya throwing his ulti down, but at most you can hope for a 50-50. Cassio blocking the path. Thank you for the leash, says G2, and now they want to keep the fight going. Knock from Lebrov is there. He's going to be able to dash out just in the nick of the time. Elyoya, however, is not. The pullback on the feathers is perfect. Caps finding the stun on Jojo, who couldn't click fast enough. Fast flash coming out from Caps and MKOI. Now retreating. Kled on the way. Rumwarp's not taking anybody out. G2, it's at the end of the day, not a lot of people die, but they get the objective. They walk away, they get the kill on Elyoya, and they're feeling pretty good.
The arrival of Broken Blade forces Koi to disengage. A bunch of summoners were burned. But my goodness, these fights are so intense. Everyone just barely surviving. Alvaro and Super acting as gatekeepers to zone Hansama and Labrov away. Once they realize that the mid and jungle have arrived from G2, they have to disengage. Smart target selection, but the ultimate from Labrov and the engage from Skumond is fantastic. Turning that attention onto Super, forcing him out of the fight, and basically forcing Koi to split up. That makes it easier for G2 to have clear target selection. They get that initial kill onto the Maokai, and the moment this Kled arrives, Jojo's saying, you know what, I've got to flash away to safety.
It could have been a disaster there for MKOI, though. It looked like if Kled had been there that just a couple of seconds faster, able to chase them down, but MKOI able to step away. You can see there, Hansama on the bottom of your screen, in a fantastic position as Labrov.
Root is there. Jojo's been taking a lot of damage. The exhaust coming in just in time. The counter exhaust coming out. But the redemption! Labrov! Oh, the item just seems to match the moment perfectly as he's kicking this one off well, but Super untouched for now. Hansama tries to back step, but he doesn't quite have the damage to finish with the feathers. Super, one more auto, will not get it done. Labrov standing. Down goes Hansama, but it's 3 dead for the side of MKOI.
This game went from 0 to 90 just like that. The fisticuffs are flying, but it's G2 who are coming out on top in these engages. Super gets one back, but it's still G2 with the gold.
Skumond with a 1-0-3 scoreline now is super important in this play as they look for a pick onto Labrov. The hook doesn't quite connect. Jojo has no flash from the earlier exchange. Really good exhaust onto Skumond to limit his impact. And Super tries to make the superstar play. Goes in hyper aggressive. The flash response from Hans gets enough damage onto Super to prevent him from cleaning up the fight. Skumond walks away with a kill. And G2 lead with a 1.3k gold lead.
G2 now on the Herald as well. Icing on the cake after a pretty dominant fight. 2-4 the kill score. 1k gold lead in their favor. Elio trying to get something started on the bottom side. Broken Blade demounting, but with no one else there to do damage, he's taking his time. Stacking that Fury. Gromp body blocking a bit there as Mirwin maybe going to look for an angle, but he remounts, walks away. He's just unconcerned. Now it's Jojo who's in trouble. Cyclone coming down. Labrov looking for the chase forward, but Alvaro there to cover. Hook does connect onto Skumond. Knock up now onto Labrov. He's going to try to back away as Jojo's laying down a bit of damage with the clone and a quick retreat.
But the Caps has already got that turret in the top side thanks to the Rift Herald, so they're just going to try for a little bit more. Jojo needs to be careful. Knocked up, but I don't think G2 want to follow.
No, they don't. Alvaro's still hovering around, ready to peel, try to protect Jojo Pune if G2 push for anything else, but it feels like in about 1 minute, G2 have just gone from dead even to full control.
Keep my eyes on mid lane as well, because I noticed Elyoya hovering around, threatening a dive onto Hansama, but Hans is going to respect it. Alvaro gets knocked up.
Upa. 3 autos. Stacking up the cultivation of Spirit. And now it might be Caps who's overstayed. Ulti only connecting on Jojo Pune. He's trying to burst down one before he gets taken out, but no, it's just Caps. Isolated on the top side, sticking around a bit too long.
Spotted on a ward. He wanted to try and set up a trap on the Super, but Super had full information of it. Jojo and the bot lane work together to punish Caps as he finds himself now with a 0-2 scoreline here in game 1.
A nice interrupt in the mid lane means tempo relatively matched in terms of 80 carries overall. You can see Kraken coming through for Super. Damage really starting to hurt.
But it's when you finish that Ruin's Hurricane for Super is really going to be the turning point, and he can't be that far away. He's about to pop the Cull as well, so I think Super, if you could get one more wave before this objective, could be huge, and I think he's copped there. He's going to stick around, try and finish the Cull, hit his Runins, and this second Dragon could be massive for MKOI.
Even though G2 hold the gold lead for now, it's still a very tense situation, and I want to draw your attention to that mid lane matchup. Level 12 to level 11. Jojo is performing very well on a champion. He's now becoming synonymous with this rise. His side lane pressure is something that he's really refined throughout the year. And now, with a fully stacked tier, the Rod of Age is quickly stacking. Jojo is in a position to be the core carry of this team.
Certainly is. Hansama now completing a second item as well. A lot of short-range carries in this game. Means it's going to be super volatile in the fights. Frontline, the CC needs to be connecting on the correct targets to peel for that backline, or it could fall apart. And in that case, Hansama in a good spot, as the Xayah. Very easy for him to survive a lot of the telegraph CC that MKOI can bring.
I like the way MKOI played this, though. They used Jojo to shove it mid to then get control over River, and now it means that even though Super reset late to finish that Ruin's Hurricane, they can still contest this position. G2 not going to be able to just fan out and get multiple angles of attack, and MKOI should be able to try and set up this basically front to back in the manner that they want.
Caps off to the side. Ulti coming in from Broken Blade. Super backstepping, immediately ulting to make sure he has the extended dash. The TP back in. Skumond using the clone well, but it's Elyoya off to the side, focusing down Broken Blade. Full Q channel, lands onto Caps. Not too much damage. Mirwin now going to follow. Caps forced to flash out to safety. Excellent play coming in from Zuba thus far. Otto's connecting. LeBron going to look to peel. And Skewmon goes in. The turn back from G2. Caps still standing. The Cassio ready to take this fight over because Alvaro is done and dusted. Barely living for an extra moment, but the monkey gets the job done. Jojo Pune sprinting, running for his life. But G2 in the meantime in the mid lane are still making the fight work as Jojo Pune's got nowhere left to go. The auto hits the ward, not the blast cone, but Mirwin manages to take one back.
Chaos ensues in the mid lane as everything goes crazy. It's G2 that just barely comes out ahead in the fight, as it was a fight on two fronts. You've got Jojo attacking the flank of Broken Blade as Mirwin goes in for a skirmish with the carries of G2. Caps looked like that he was out of the fight right from the start, but somehow G2 find a way back into the fight.
G2 were trying to take the fight before MKOI could set up in the front to back that we were talking about. The TP comes through. It looks a little dicey as Elyoya gets a good ult, but the clone ends up taking that ultimate. So then as G2 start to fall away, Jojo moves towards that bottom side, but that only isolates that top side of the fight. Caps gets ulted, there is no follow-up, and it's a great engage from LeBron. The flash charm onto Supa with Skewmon on the follow-up, and it's the man that has been doubted that is making the difference in these fights for G2.
Absolutely, that play from Lebrov was the turning point in the fight. Caps then also trying to get something back, gets punished by Mirwin, flashes in, gets the knock-up, secures the kill.
Yeah, I mean, guys, chill in the fight, take a deep breath, okay? We are overcomplicating.
Anyone else? The difference
Quite
in calm.
different
Chill in the fight. Look, and you can see
though,
why they're feeling confident. You're right, Lebrov is popping off. 3-1-4 for Hansama. And another fight, it feels like, where Supa is in an okay position. Could do a lot of damage. The Runans is doing work. But the second that CC lands, there's no coming back.
But I think this is where we get to see what feels like the new G2. Look at the scoreboard at the bottom. 3-0-4 for Skewmon, 1-0-6 for Lebrov. They've been involved in every single kill for G2. And these were the two members that we wanted to see link up. These are the two members that needed to step up today. And in game one, they are doing more than their job's fair share.
Certainly are. A brief moment of calm now. Otacon, of course, the next thing we're looking to see which team can walk away. Soul point potentially on the table for G2 in 3 minutes as well. Will be Chemtech. Pretty high value, honestly, for a Wukong, a Kled, and a Cassio. Supa hovering in the darkness. Difficult for him to step too far forward when he is isolated like this. But Elyoya on the way up. And again, the vision the Saplings give, the control MKOI can get in theory, all kind of falls by the wayside if they just start scrapping with G2.
MKOI are struggling a little on the side lanes, though. You can see they already moved both Alvaro and Elyoya down to match Caps with Mirwin. So it means that then Broken Blade gets that push in top. Supa is kind of just fake pressuring in the mid to make sure he can contest the wave. But it is opening up these little moments for G2 where they can get control on the sides. And as we start to move towards those next objectives that you're talking about, Dracos, I think that's going to be key to keeping that control for them.
Fight over that control ward. The importance of vision well understood by both teams. Now full group from MKOI around the mid lane. Maybe looking to make a play, catch someone on this mid wave. Trying to play through mid as G2 try to play through bot. The difference, of course, G2 in a good position to potentially threaten or take that tower. And Otacon as well on the bottom side.
Broken Blade coming in from the flank. Jojo is spotted on those wards, trying to navigate through the fog of war best he can. This Otacon is melting though, and Koi, the ulti from Elyoya comes out.
From Elyoya. Lebrov isolated off to the side, but the Otacon is already gone. MKOI feel like they have to push for more. Supa already using the Transcend. But they don't get much. The ulti doesn't push them away. They're a bit too late to the play. Now they're trying to make something happen around Broken Blade, but the Otacon's already gone. G2 happy with this.
G2 played the map perfectly there. They set up BB in the mid lane, so then they can actually make a pressure point there that Mirwin has to contest. Otherwise, he leaves BB on that flank for the likes of his carries. So G2 end up in position.
Phase Rush going to keep him standing. A risky proposition. That bit of vision. G2 continuing the pressure, pushing onto this tier 2. Mirwin waiting off to the side, but Elyoya with no ulti means that G2 just aren't that concerned.
I mean, this has been a massive swing in the game state, because while the goal doesn't look dramatically different, G2 have opened up that tower in the bot lane, making it easier for them to put pressure on the side lane. Securing all of those petals as well gives you a huge influx of stats.
They're
looking for a play on Jojo.
Fast play onto Jojo, immediate knockup. There's just nothing that he can do.
Skewmon and Lebrov once again The team up that G2 fans have been looking for all year is coming into full effect here in the finals. And I mean, beautiful execution from the jungle support duo.
And we saw this in the upper bracket. This was part of the reason that G2 were able to win that first game, is now they try to retreat, is those fast plays, catching Koi when they think they have a turn to push out their own waves.
But was it too quick is now the question. Jojo's up in 17 seconds with TP, Dragon in 35, Skewmon no flash, no ultimate, no flash on Lebrov. Maybe this is a moment where MKOI can say, hang on, we can stop this Dragon stacking and start to get some control over these objective fights for ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, the delay on the base of Han Sama is going to be significant. Caps versus Mirwin. Yep, that matchup going about as I expected.
It would take like, 20 seconds for Mirwin to die, but he might as well just get out.
Super going to pick up a tower for himself. But of course, while Skewmon and Lebrov have been setting up a lot of the plays for G2, right now it's all about Han Sama, the key carry for the team. 2 items completed. I don't know if he's actually had an opportunity to base yet. I imagine he's sitting on a lot of gold.
Not
as
since
the
we saw the recall
started
canceled.
off. I don't think G2 feels confident enough to force this. Instead, they'll turn their attention towards the mid-tier 1.
That is the Realm Warp gone. G2 now setting up position around the Baron. They have Cassio and a Xayah. They eat the subjective alive. They cannot be left alone around the pit.
I think in this position, though, they're just happy to say, hey, we're just going to try and set up vision on this top side and try and play then to enable Caps on this side lane. Because especially with things like the Realm Warp and Elyoya having that ultimate, it can be very easy to chase down this Cassiopeia in a side lane. So I think G2, with the way things are going, just happy to gift across that early Dragon.
Hans has to be on so much gold right now.
Yeah.
Like, he still hasn't based. He's going to take the red buff.
At this point, I think he's sticking around for IE.
Sticking around for another wave, yeah. I mean, let's see what he gets when he eventually does base, but I think you're right, Dragos.
Ooh, Lebrov doesn't want to take the risk there, but Tuba is, of course, isolated in the mid lane. Blue Trinket spots out Cass, but they don't want to overcommit. MKOI playing with a ton of respect. They don't know that G2 are a little bit scattered there, so they don't feel comfortable stepping in and trying to force a play.
All right, I just got a ping in my ear that Hans has 3K in his inventory, and just like that,
there it is.
There's the Infinity Edge. But to be fair, Super matching him. The only difference is the boots purchased. So in terms of itemization, Super's still in a prime position to dish out some serious damage in the upcoming fights. And that's what I want to make clear. Koi definitely not out of the game just yet. It's definitely not looking great, especially thanks to all the petals that they got from the Outer Khan. The small experience advantage, Caps ticking over to level 16, for example. But if they can find a pick...
Thunderbrook Blade. He's going to dash out to safety. Ulti connecting on a Skewmon, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. Elyoya throws down his ulti a bit prematurely. G2 in a position to just sidestep, and now MKOI's ults available for this next fight are essentially non-existent.
And G2 didn't invest any. They were just happy to send Lebrov in, knew he had the dash away, cleanse to make sure even if he got locked up, he could escape off the back of it. And now G2 looking to set up.
Looking to turn back onto Mirwin. Super for now in a decent position to do damage, but has to respect the potential for Lebrov to just force the fight. Skewmon going in, immediately going to get exhausted. Mirwin going into zombie form. Han Sama isolated with Super off to the side. They managed to zone him out of the fight. G2 with a quick 2 kills as they set their sights on Baron.
Just like that, G2 find the picks, and they'll get the Baron off the back of it. That might have just blown this game open for G2 entirely.
Han Sama just goes God mode. He uses all of the resources that he's been given to full effect, and he melts through the front line. Mirwin doesn't stand a chance. The Baron now secured. G2 with full control over game 1.
One more power for Jojo, but is it going to take him far enough? As Skewmon is on the chase with the red buff. Lebrov here as well. Kleds coming into Jojo. No room to play. No defensive item to save him or keep him standing. G2 grab another pick and continue to extend that lead.
Phase rush not quick enough to escape the Kled, and now G2 on this top side. A confident game number 1, a near 8K gold lead for them now.
And we talked about what it would look like if MKOI got a lead, but they really did not get that lead outside of those first few minutes for Jojo Pune. It's just so hard for them to play this.
And when we look back at this play, keep your eyes on Han Sama here. He's eyeing at Mirwin and he's saying, you know what, Broken Blade, I think we can make this play happen. Bear Trap on a rope connects. They connect the root. The damage is ruthless. Caps also connects the poison to finish off the kill. And then they convert it into another kill because Alvaro, there's nowhere for him to escape to. Beautiful pick from G2. They may have found another one.
Mirwin has some backup coming though. But he is slowly getting shredded down. It's just Broken Blade. Ulti out there, traded for Mirwin's ulti.
It's still a bit of a bluff from G2. Look at where the other members were. They weren't in a position to try and follow up. So now you get that ultimate out from Mirwin, making him significantly less threatening. And G2, using this Canyon minion, will continue the siege on towards the mid-turret.
That they will. LeBron looking to cancel a couple recalls. Tier 2's expected to fall when you have this Baron this early, but G2's gold lead, again, we felt like they had a lead at 1K. They had more control over the game at 2K and an Otacon. Now they're at 9K. This lead feels nigh insurmountable, but there's the engage coming from Elyoya. Alvaro waiting off to the side, rooted, grounded, can't get anything going. Super trying to find those auto attacks, but again, cannot walk into that miasma. MKOI hold the line. They have the redemption, but they can't approach the double cannon minions. It's a slow siege from G2, but they will break open the base of MKOI.
The bot lane as well. The siege is continuing from Broken Blade. He has a wave that Mewin is trying to stop, but now the rest of G2 have come to assist. Another tower is in their eyes.
Pull back from Broken Blade is good. D-Mount starts hitting the tower for a little bit of extra courage. Caps continuing to poke and prod. A reset now coming in from Broken Blade. Does not have access to the TP. Potentially an opportunity for MKOI to force a favorable fight. BB does have access to the ultimate, however, so they have to be careful about overforcing.
I think G2 are just trying to keep MKOI in their base 20 seconds until that dragon, and then they can fall back and take it just as that Baron buff falls off as well. So G2 just cracking skulls of MKOI in the base.
And again, the pressure was on in the finals generally, but especially in this game one for Labrov and Skewmon to step up. We've said it so many times, we have to say it again. 100% kill participation for both of them. They are the driving force behind this G2 win. They are not the rookie passengers of a veteran lineup. They are the ones making these plays happen.
Absolutely, and Hansama doing exactly what you need your AD carry to do. He is dishing out some serious damage, and MKOI is very limited on their options now. GA is going to be completed for Skewmon. Jojo testing his limits a bit on the side lane. He's going to be forced to back away. But now, with only a single inhibitor standing, G2 will likely set their sights on the top lane, steal away what they can. Elyoya, at the very least, getting a blue buff. But Koi looking to regroup and get ready for game 2, because this one feels done and dusted for G2.
It's also such a massive victory for G2 when it comes towards the draft as well, because you'd think of like, okay, well, Cassiopeia, yeah, it's a counter into Rise, but it's not one of the big perennial power picks we think of. Yunara is also going to be taken off the board for MKOI as well, and it feels like G2 kind of having things like the Kled and the Cassiopeia that they nearly prepped for this draft really sets them up well going forward, where they still have more of those regular picks to opt into.
Supa doing what he can now alongside the team. That's the ulti out from Elyoya, just zoning away G2 for now. Labrov uses the Mikhails on himself just to make sure that there's no follow-up. G2 playing on 2 lanes. Broken Blade, a constant nuisance in this game. He hasn't been the star of the show most certainly, but a pressure point in the favor of G2 for the vast majority of that 1v1. Now threatening through bottom lane as well. Koi being pushed from all sides.
Koi fortunately have a lot of wave clear to hold the line for now. Broken Blade going to catch that wave so it doesn't even connect to the bottom super minions that are making their way down. MKOI have alleviated some of the pressure mid, but that top tower is secured by G2.
That it is. Flashes, ultis up on the side of G2. They really haven't had to burn anything. Just taking their time walking into the base, keeping the pressure up. They want to play it tutorial style. Hook from Alvaro, not going to connect. Immediate flash out. Means he will stay standing, but there's redemption used by both sides. G2 still know that Supa, if left uncontested, can take over a fight, so they're giving MKOI that respect.
To early cleanse from Alvaro. Oh, hang on. Ulti going to be forced out from Mewin. He's forced back. I mean, it feels like that MKOI have little that they can do. They're going to have to go for a Hail Mary play soon. The Maokai ultimate is up in a few seconds.
Herded back into the base. Platform from Joji P wants to get a bit more damage down, but Hansama is the one they need to worry about. Goes right back up into the sky. Will feel fine about that as they wrap around the Nexus to find the kills onto MKOI. Supa, though, the exhaust starting to fade away and still in a good position with the ulti, but his Cap's the other carry that he has to keep his eye on. It feels impossible for them to play this. They can't retreat to their base because Hansama is the bouncer to their own damn fountain in game 1. G2 took advantage, kept on pushing, and found first blood in the LEC Summer Finals.
It was slow until it really wasn't. G2 flick a switch and blow up MKOI in game number 1.
And all the way to the end, that jungle support. G2's damage overall relatively low. Very heavy emphasis on this Sivir to get ahead. They really need to funnel these resources into Hans. On contrast, Koi's composition wants to play in a very similar way, but I guess the key difference is one side wants to play more front to back, the other just wants to dive onto the back line as quickly as they can.
I think for G2 as well, a little bit more when it comes towards that side lane pressure as well with both the Rek'Sai and the Galio, and maybe that's where they can try and lend that strength in moving around the map to try and facilitate plays that do get them into a winning position. But if both teams are coming in even, Steven, I agree with you, Veddy. I like what MKOI are bringing to the draft. Better front line, good engage. Your carries are in positions where they're able to play behind these big beefcakes. And if Hansama doesn't get ahead, G2 just lack the consistent DPS they need in those later portions of the game.
Very true. Obviously, the game could look pretty different. If we see that early game snowball, the base damage of all these champions on the side of G2 is pretty fantastic. But for MKOI, if they get that Cassante to the later stages of the game, the Zeri will still be tough for this team to lock down, right? The Alistar, a pretty solid option. The knockup for Broken Blade, good as well, but can be tricky. Now getting ready for game 2. G2 took first blood. Can they move up to match point? MKOI, will they be able to fire back? That is the question on our mind. We hop into Summoner's Rift here. And I think pressure on this MKOI jungle support, the players we praise all of the time. The heart, the beating heart of this team. So we hop into game now to match or outmatch what G2 were able to do in the previous game if they want to continue to find advantages in this series. And Labrov caught out a bit level 1 here. Some aggressive trading. It's just going to be MKOI jockeying for position, moving in there. I'm going to drop a ward. Of course, G2 don't know that, so still giving the necessary respect.
I want to keep my eyes on what these junglers are doing in the early game. I mean, I always reference back to this, but when we used to cancel Cadra a lot, he always used to talk to us about how Jarvan, if he's not ganking, he's not doing anything. Champion that really wants to be active in the early game.
Yeah.
And so when you look at this map, when you look at what options he has, bot lane or mid lane kind of have to be your focus. Either punish the Orianna, get a flash out early, and then look for some repeat ganks, or alternatively, invest all your resources into making sure that Hansama can get a good laning phase. We know that Jojo is going to be wanting to trade a lot in this mid lane matchup. He played against Poby's Orianna yesterday, and he felt the full brunt of what was a difficult matchup. And today he's going to be the one looking to exert that pressure. He already got the better of Caps in game 1, building a pretty substantial gold lead throughout the first 15-20 minutes of the game. Let's see if he can repeat that same performance, as it looks like we're getting a swap from the side of Koi. Super going to be making his way into the top side matchup, knowing that Mirwin more than happy to play in the 2 versus 2 alongside Alvaro.
See what Broken Blade can do here with the Unburrow. Rek'Sai early game, no joke. Fury stacks, some extra sustain there too. So tough for Supa if he keeps taking these short trades, because the sustain from Rek'Sai is just going to outmatch him over enough time.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, Rek'Sai has a ton of sustain in the kit, but you can still see, like, if you're able to consistently DPS Broken Blade down, he can't get access to auto-attack the minions. That's where you can try and find some advantages here for Supa on that top side. And of course, in the next 30 seconds, we'll see Alvaro making his way towards that top half of the map as well to help out his AD carry.
Brav already on the roam, perhaps looking to make a play here. Just keeping that wave crash forward.
I don't know if they would have any damage, even if he does show up. Jojo respecting the fact that he's missing, though.
Brav just threatening. Credit to Jojo. He'll be forced to taxi out from Labrov as Jojo, unafraid, knows there's a potential of a Q flash, but also just doesn't believe it. In the meantime, however, Cap's happy to have that opportunity to move in. Use the passive, get the extra shielding back, and just run out.
Nice trade there from Caps. Kind of what you need to do. Passive from the auto. Proc the phase rush. Passive again. Nice chunk of damage. Jojo, though, using that health pot. Caps is probably going to be forced to do the same. He's getting very low right now as supports now make their way into top lane.
Continuing the trend of game 1, and
oh my goodness.
This is every Galio lane, to be fair, though. I feel like everyone who plays Galio is constantly at 50 HP, praying they don't just die to something.
You're going to have to trade your HP for mana is the key thing. And look at Jojo's mana right now. You can see it's relatively... He's probably got one more QW left, but then he's going to be out of mana. So that's probably why Caps feels pretty comfortable, especially with his jungler in the vicinity.
The pull from Labrov to interrupt Alvaro there. Of course, this lane swap, I think Homo Life were the first ones to introduce it, does make things a little bit awkward. The top lane support combos don't always, don't do much very frequently. Double knock up here on the top side.
I was gonna say, nice little bounce house.
Yeah, you can make people bounce.
Yeah.
I don't think you can make them die, but you can definitely knock them up a few times.
I want to take stock of XP, though, because normally one of the advantages of doing this is sometimes AD carries can get a bit of an XP advantage because they find themselves solo early. As we see another nice trade coming out from Caps. Oh, now Elioya.
Flash forward. 1, 2, waiting for 3, dash in 3, that's the wind becomes lightning. Caps now in trouble as Alvaro chases. Justice Punch not going to save him. They're donating the kill over to JoJo. First blood picked up once again.
Great timing from MKOI there. Caps going for the aggressive trade, thinking that JoJo had TP'd into an odd spot, but ends up setting up perfectly then for the rest of MKOI to follow through and donate the kill.
Elyoya has to commit his flash to make the mid play work, but it ends up paying off. Once again, JoJo gets himself first blood, and Elyoya making his presence known early on. We heard from the desk that Elyoya was quite quiet in game one, and I think that we can say the same thing with Skumon and Labrov really getting the better of them in the jungle support combo. But this time around, Alvaro and Elyoya already looking to make magic happen. Small gold lead for MKOI. Dragon available. Flash in.
Flash forward, knows that flash is gone. The flag and drag to follow perfectly. Stacked CC there, but JoJo just a little bit of life. 100 as he's able to flash out.
And not enough damage. What?
Oh, that was a Galio nerfs there.
The shielding from JoJo's E, just enough to keep him alive. But I mean, we talked about limited damage portfolio on the side of G2, and that was kind of an example of what we're talking about. That was double flashes committed, that was full combos from both Jarvan and Galio, and it still wasn't enough to kill a level 5 Orianna.
There on the way in, the game plan from MKOI is clear. You called it out. If these carries get ahead, they're feeling good. And in this case, it's JoJo Pune. Elyoya spending his time just to make sure that JoJo can pick up those last little bits of farm. Remember, he did already burn that TP. Skumon, though, recognizes this as a window of opportunity to lock down that early Drake. And thus far in the series, Labrov and Alvaro matching each other in almost every play. Labrov is going to have to crash down out of that one as Hans Sama was first on the collapse.
Speaking of Hans Sama, he's doing very well on the farm. He's just built the same lead that JoJo has over Caps independently. He's been farming well, he's been catching waves where he can. The swap really didn't affect him much as Broken Blade now in danger.
Ulti interrupt the tunnel, he wants one more. Broken Blade's still gonna go out, Q forward! Mirror wants it so bad, but he doesn't have the range to dash forward! The Q3! Oh, and the emotes. Broken Blade so close to death, but will manage to walk away.
Yeah, that's the one where you say not even close as your voice breaks afterwards. Broken Blade trying to play it off cool, but that was very, very close to Mirren getting that kill. And we saw yesterday what Mirren can do with leads in this Cassante. You do not want to be giving that man the gold.
An interesting adaptation for Mirren, I think, recognizing the lack of damage. I think that's a Fimbulwinter. That's an early tier. Knows that he's going to lose in the sustained battle against Rek'Sai, so wants to make sure he has mana. Might just be a tier for lane. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
We'll keep track of the direction that he ends up going. In any case, Elyoya now feeling power to move into the top side of the map alongside Alvaro. That jungle support synergy that we've come to expect working well, but Labrov and Skumon are there to answer. The battle over the red buff, I don't think it'll amount to much. Caps is ready to go. He has his ulti available on the Galio.
Alvaro punted over the wall. JoJo Pune ready to follow. Supa first to move, but Hans Sama ready to match as well. So a lot of posturing around the red, but neither side wants to fully commit. Skumon waiting over the wall. Can flag and drag. Alvaro looking to retreat. Flash in from Labrov. Ulti coming in from Caps. Well layered. Elyoya now caught in the midst of the fight, but they don't quite have the damage to finish it. JoJo standing off on the side, but here comes Hans Sama. Right in time to find these kills. Elyoya sprinting, running for dear life, but he is stunned, locked down, and sent packing.
Movistar Koi thought they had the support of Supa to come across, but it's actually Hans Sama who gets first to the play, and G2 turn the invade around.
Labrov. This man is showing up today. What a fantastic engage to set up for G2 to find a beautiful fight. The grubs have been started by G2, but I don't think they feel confident enough to secure it. Already, JoJo and Elyoya get back out onto the map, and we look back at this play, and I really want to draw your attention to Labrov as he finds a beautiful engage. He stacks up his passive, uses that initial punt to get Alvaro out of the fight, but he has his sights set on JoJo.
And essentially what MKOI are trying to do are play with Supa, having that ability to come over the wall. But Hans Sama drops the wave and comes across, and Labrov, as you called it, Betty, perfect engage and setup then for Caps and Skumon. We're back to live, and boy, Grubs contested.
2v3 on the top side, Supa immediately in a ghost. Labrov in trouble, only level 5 likely to fall. Supa happy to have the extra gold. The Ultra Shock laser over the wall, Labrov retreating to Hans Sama, but Hans Sama cannot keep him standing. Good side steps, but the movement not clean enough to stop the kill from going over. 2 grubs already down for MKOI, and they will lock down the third.
An ambitious contest from G2 as Koi, they had the numbers, they had the positioning, and G2 had already used all of their resources. No ulti for the Jarvan, Galio, or Sivir meant that that was always going to be a difficult fight. MKOI absolutely punished them, and they get themselves, at the very least, a bit of reprieve.
This is a much closer early game than we saw in the last game. Very slow, very quiet, but both teams punching back and forth. I think the big thing to point though, Hans Sama, 2 early kills, a little bit of a gold lead for himself on that bottom side, is going to be crucial again to the success of G2 because he needs to be that consistent damage.
Definitely the case. Is again, Alvaro and Lebrov, both have been matching each other the entire series thus far. It was Lebrov in game 1, playing like an absolute demon, of course, that made it easy for Hans Sama, a similar story to what we're seeing now, to really take over in so many of those fights. MKOI trying to hold on in the mid lane. We know what JoJo could do as we get later, but I feel like Lebrov is not done yet. Play over the wall, knock back into the top. The follow-up is here, right on time. The shockwave, not enough. The exhaust back to the tower. Caps has to flash out to safety, but it's just not nearly enough to get the kill.
The last time these two teams faced off, Lebrov flashed underneath the tower and was outplayed by JoJo.
Instant reaction. Elyoya now trying to follow up on his Skumon. Skumon forced to flash backwards, but again, they don't really have the damage to convert here.
But I think G2 walk away happy. They find the pick that they were looking for. Lebrov continues to be proactive on the map. Broken Blade going for a bit of a one-on-one against Mirwin. Feeling more confident than the last time they scrapped in the 1v1. But my goodness, once again, this jungle support combo of G2. They've set their sights on JoJo, and they are trying to shut him down.
And remember, while they are working on the project of shutting down JoJo, it's Hans Sama stacking that coal, holding on to that 500 gold lead. Supa trailing just a little bit behind. Would love to complete the first item there. They're going to be crucial in these fights.
I'm curious what the game plan is here for G2 because they actually have the item advantage over MKOI, but and the dragon is about to spawn. But you see the TP coming back in from Broken Blade, so there is a moment where G2 could look to fight this objective, especially with JoJo now down to half HP. With Caps on the top side and a lot of pressure from MKOI up there, it looks like MKOI are the ones who don't want to try and contest.
Credit to G2, they are sacrificing pressure on the top side, but Hans Sama able to push out mid first. Uncertainty as to where Lebrov is stops JoJo Pune from pushing too far forward, and Broken Blade, similar to last game, is just this infinite pressure point. The Rek'Sai is so obnoxious. You can't bully him out of lane. The sustain just eventually whittles down Mirwin and forces him to respect the push that's coming out.
Overall, early game going away that G2 is happy with. Hans has to be careful here, though. He has the spell shield ready for a shockwave from JoJo. Elyoya was in the shadows waiting. Clears out the vision, and our observers highlighting for us now the limited information G2 have. Nice little ward over the wall there.
Spots Elyoya. Sweeper will spot Alvaro. Only level 5. Sama level 9. Waiting behind. Not a ton of mana as Elyoya may want to start this one, but it's the Hex Gate. Skumon arriving to cover, and MKOI a little bit split. We talked about the damage of G2 as we get later lacking, but right now, when you have major item completions like the Sundered Sky, base damage alone is enough for G2 if they can layer the CC to just find these easy picks.
I mean, the good news for Koi right now is that they're not forced to fight. They're able to pick up a few items as well, but JoJo desperately needs that Rod of Ages. He wants to get it stacking as quickly as he can, but of course, all the early pressure that he's been experiencing has put him behind that first item breakpoint. And right now, Koi's just trying to buy time. We know that they've got good scaling on their side. Lebrov caught out in the river.
Playing with fire here. They are going to force the flash out. He held on to his ultimate, though, so this might be a little bit over-eager from the side of Koi. Apparently not. Supa. Gigantic chunk of damage there coming in from the passive.
Lebrov has been playing so confident in the river, but MKOI finally called the bluff, and now Caps out of position.
Alvaro ready to go over the wall. Instant shockwave to kick the fight off. Caps desperately trying to retreat. Just as punching. He's now looking to retreat. Alvaro, they didn't anticipate the backstep from the punch. Skumon goes over the wall with Alvaro and finds another one back. It might be a disaster, but Supa looking to follow up. Hans Sama on the way in. Knock up there. Caps cannot find a quick escape, and it's another kill. Donated to Zeri. Hand delivered. Supa waiting over the wall. The Ultra Shock laser, but Hans Sama continues the chase onto Elyoya. It's an extended fight, but Skumon once again looking to re-enter the fight. Hans Sama running. Elyoya gets another one, but Skumon manages to fire back to Sundered Sky, keeping Elyoya healthy, but probably not healthy enough as Skumon waiting for his cooldowns, ready to flag and drag in a little bit extra healing. The knock up there, Elyoya holding on for so damn long, but he can't sidestep everything, and it's a fist to the face from Lebrov to lock him down.
The gloves are off. These teams are getting down and dirty in the jungle as fists are being thrown. 5 to 6 the kill score, and it starts with Lebrov getting caught in the river. That's where it started. Remember, he comes back later into this fight. Caps tries to offer some assistance, but Koi recognized, hey, there's an angle for us to catch him here, and just look at the positioning of Alvaro in this fight.
Skumon with the flag and drag into the dunk down off the back of it, and I like the idea from Caps here, try and ult to safety and hope he can get out, but the damage comes through, and Hans Sama in the 1v1 versus Alyoya pushes him back, nearly picks off Supa on the back line. And because Labrov is coming through, Skumon is confident enough to finish off Supa, and it's the duo who end up finally finishing off in Alyoya after he finishes off Hans Sama.
He came damn close to picking up a kill onto Labrov there, but the stun was enough to help Skumon secure it, get himself a killing spree. And now we return to live. Thinking about these objectives, Herald is going to be up in 5 seconds time. The top laners remain isolated on their island on the bot side of the map, but you can see the Broken Blade in terms of health is starting to get the better of Mirwan in these trades. He is the one consistently pushing him underneath these towers, and Mirwan going to be forced to base.
There's been a sizable gold swing in the AD carries though. Now a 600 gold lead for Supa has just popped the cull on both sides, which was why you're seeing a little bit uneven, but still the Runaan's Hurricane just completed now for Supa on this reset. Should be perfect for these next objective fights.
Hans Sama desperately needs a reset to pick up some gold of his own. Minute and 20 till the Drake. We'll see if he backs after this wave. But instead, it looks like they're going to go for a fast play onto Alvaro. Alvaro shattering strike. Quick crash down as well as the heal to try to make his way out to safety. Elliot there to cover. G2 pushing in for a bit more vision. Happy to chip away at those summoner spells, but spending a lot of time as Broken Blade has already started proxying on the bottom side of the map. They really want that objective set up around the Drake, and they're willing to play a little bit creatively to make it happen.
Broken Blade has the TP available if G2 want to start this Herald off, and it looks like they're thinking about it. Hans did use his ultimate in that last exchange. Alvaro just completed the redemption, and the rest of Koi returning back onto the map. But Jojo TPing bot lane signals that Koi not interested in contesting this objective. Instead, they'll turn their attention towards the Dragon spawning in 35. And unsurprisingly, Broken Blade, is he out of position?
Running.
I don't think
the tunnel still. It's hard to be out of position.
Tank Rek'Sai is quite durable, one could say.
That might be caught here by Alvaro if he gets the ward down and the interrupt. BB has the TP to get back out onto the map, but G2, they want Hans Sama here to try and contest. The big point for me, though, is still Supa having those 2 items completed. This is where you are so threatening as the Zeri and could potentially take over a fight of this Dragon.
Okay. Dang. There's our very own sexy sax man in the audience.
So we've got Trumpet Guy versus Sax Man.
Trumpets versus G2 Saxophone. Battle of the Brass, baby. Also, battle of this third Drake. Koi with the better setup, but G2 with the mid lane prio. Courtesy of that Herald, Jojo Pune caught out, isolated in the Cataclysm, and here comes Caps trying to get the job done. Redemption for a bit extra healing, keeps Jojo standing for an extra second, and Supa off to the side. The immediate turn from G2. They recognize one target's almost down. They want to go to the next. Jojo lives for far too long. The sidestep turns to alive. He forces the flash out from Skumon. The chase down on the Caps is coming through now. It's Mirwan versus the world. Hans Sama isolated. All out goes Mirwan. The taunt might be enough for the flash through. The Q, the portal, keeps them standing. Mirwan wants to get one more kill on the Broken Blade, but in the meantime, Alvaro must back off. G2 with the kill advantage thus far. Broken Blade in the midst of 2, wants to turn it back. Pull back coming in on the Q3. Broken Blade can't quite go back into the tunnel, or yes, he can. Dash forward from Elyoya. Wants to finish the kill. Knockup comes through. A bit of extra healing, a grass proc, but Elyoya's going to get the job done. G2 on the way out. It's a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath, but the Dragon was the thing that they wanted, and it's the Dragon that goes across to Koi. But these tanks are trying desperately to get the work they need done.
Where do we even start with this fight? I guess we have to start with the focus on the Jojo. You can see that G2 collapses, but again, we come back to this damage profile. It takes them so long to kill him. A good exhaust onto Supa prevents him from really running rampant in the fight. He gets isolated from his team, and Hans Sama and Caps work towards shutting him down while Jojo dies on the other side. But as you were saying, Elyoya focusing on securing the Dragon. There's nothing that Broken Blade can do. And in the extended fight, with Sivir gone, it now becomes an easy opportunity for Koi to chase down these stragglers of G2, pick themselves up a few more kills, and ultimately walk away the victors in this fight.
Of course, crucial that they were able to get that kill onto Jojo. As the fight could have gone much worse. They took out the major threats from the side of Koi. It could have all fallen apart, but you highlighted it well, right? The initial burst, if it does not find those crucial targets, if Hansama doesn't have the space to auto-attack, MKOI in the extended fights, the ult he sustained from K'Sante, the Sundered Sky from Elyoya just makes it so hard to finish those.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you forget there's 3 carries on MKOI, and I'm not talking about Elyoya. Mirwin getting so much work done in these fights. And again, because on MKOI it is easy to go kill Hansama, or at least like that's the focus. It means that when Hansama's taken out, you just don't have anything left in the tank. And I think that's, as we continue forward, the main focus for these fights is, can Hansama have the uptime he needs to carry a fight, or is he taken out before he can do so?
Now we've got the Otacon in 35 seconds. And we know that both these teams will be eager to pick that objective up. For now, it's KOI that lead in the pedals, but it's G2 that's setting up around the topside river.
G2 better setup, but worse sums for that engage-focused topside. No flash for Caps, Skewmond, or Broken Blade. Jojo and Supa both with the crucial summoner available. Hansama, of course, has his flash and his ghost. 1.5 items, though. Put him in an awkward spot for this fight. Does have the gold lead, but seems hasn't quite found a good position to recall yet. Likely the expense of the IE also delaying that second item completion. Skewmond caught out. Caps now starting to move his way down. Initial damage coming through to Skewmond is good, and they manage to take the jungler down. Shutdown is crucial for Jojo. Otacon is up. MKOI, what's the call?
Nice chain CC comes through from KOI as they punish the positioning of Skewmond. The fact that Jojo got that kill as well means a nice gold swing will come towards the MKOI mid laner as he finally finds himself with the lead over Caps. Putting a little bit more pressure down with the double buffs at his back as well. KOI claimed the gold lead.
And they claim control over these waves as well. You got Super's able to push in mid, the push on top. Good reset timers for things like the Dragon and even the Otacon on the top half of the map. So if you're MKOI, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't try and just turn on towards the Otacon. The worst thing that you could have is both of these objectives, Dragon and Otacon, up at the same time, and giving G2 the opportunity to play off of both of them at the same time.
Certainly a tough predicament to find yourself in as Jojo holds this single minion. Everyone trying to keep the pressure up. TP's available for all the respective solo laners. Labrav bringing one of his own to the table if needed. Hansama now that second item completed, Infinity Edge, means he's really going to start to hurt in these fights.
Slight item advantage in favor of Supa though. We find ourselves in a very tense game too. In game 1, it was G2 that just kind of ballooned the lead once they started finding a few good fights. The gold lead, once they had it, they didn't let it go. This time around though, KOI finding some nice picks. They punish the Brav in the river. They've punished Skewmond in the same position. Now with Dragon spawning in 35 seconds, you imagine that will be their next focus. Jojo making his way towards the bot side. Elyoya picking up the Black Cleaver. So both junglers going to be the same in terms of itemization. Both top laners with TP were setting up for a banger of a fight.
Top wave going to be sacked, so small edge to G2 there. But I'm quite more than willing to sacrifice to get priority set up around this objective. Seraph's done for Jojo. Yet another couple hundred HP or shield. The G2 are going to have to work their way through to stop Jojo from contributing to these fights.
If I'm MKOI though, this is what I was talking about, where you split the map as G2 and you go and play for Otacon. I think they need to basically send Elyoya to just solo Dragon here, and the rest of MKOI need to try and contest on towards this Otacon take.
Can be a bit tricky though. Jojo's isolated in the bot lane 1v1, and Broken Blade has the necessary knockup to stop any potential TP. Elyoya also takes a damn long time to finish this objective. So we pan back and forth. Jojo trying to delete those tunnels, but G2 are still on this Otacon. MKOI aware, but it seems like they feel they have to get something else on the map instead. Redemption coming into the mid lane. Alvaro ready to make a play. Dragon now finally down. Mid lane tower down as well. Otacon will finally fall in the favor of G2, but MKOI happy to trade 2 towers for the Otacon. Overall, Otacon worth 2 to 3k gold in terms of stats, so not the worst trade, but definitely not ideal to give it up.
I was worried that for KOI, just trading a Dragon for Otacon really wouldn't be that worth it overall, but the fact that they got 2 towers off the back of it was very nicely done. Alvaro even dropping the Redemption to rejuvenate the low HP caster minions was a nice touch to help secure that tower, knowing that Caps really doesn't have the wave clear to protect that mid wave. An 800 gold lead, not too significant, but sizable enough to put some pressure onto G2. You can tell that KOI is definitely gaining a much better footing here in game 2.
And I think for MKOI, they just have an easier job when it comes towards scaling, right? K'Sante going to be stronger than the Rek'Sai the later this game goes. The Orianna can get so much value in these fights as well. So I think for MKOI, if you're in a position to continue taking these 5v5 fights, you're just in a better spot. Whereas for G2, they kind of needed to get these leads through side lanes, and that hasn't really come to fruition. So for MKOI, I feel like they're in a good spot coming into this game too.
Important too, right? We look at Orianna, Premier Champion. We talk a lot about how the pick and ban is going to change as we go deeper in the series. Mir wins Cassante. Having this level of performance, important when you look at the landscape of the overall best of 5. JoJo trying to hold it down on the top side of the map. Doesn't have a tower to protect him, but he does have a support as Alvaro's hovering in the darkness.
Oh, TP flank coming in.
G2 looking to collapse in the side lane. Lebrov kicking things off, but he didn't quite know Alvaro's in the area. Exhaust there. Broken away looking to fall, but JoJo's already on the way out. Elyoya in the meantime fighting the 2v1. A lot of damage going down into Alvaro, but an instant combo to come through. Super with an ulti to follow. Skewmon waiting over the wall, but the fight's already done. Broken blade goes down, comes right back up. Wants nothing to do with this one, but it's Super sliding and gliding over the wall and a double kill for Jose Pune himself.
A beautiful 3-man shockwave comes through from JoJo as he turns the fight on its head. G2's lack of damage were as clear as day right there as their trap falls apart. Koi find 3 kills, and just like that, they have full control over game 2.
Man, I wish I could see the alt chat. I could see the TY good focus already there as Alvaro gives his life for the greater good. MKOI, incredible stuff as Miran will spot out Skewmon, but the pressure is already on the top half, and MKOI firmly control this game.
That they do. The retreat now on the top side. It looks like G2, they want to go for broke. If at first you don't succeed, try again. They're falling behind. They know they'll lose control over the objective, so they want to make another play happen. Super isolated. Don't want to let him get to the wall, but Elyoya is there to cover, to try and protect. Skewmon now going to flash in. Interrupt tries to come through Elyoya, but that's the shutdown. That might be enough. Mirwan waiting off to the side. Wants to get on top of Hansama. Has a bit extra range, and it's Alvaro to handle her, but Caps is coming in with the knockup to keep his 80 carry standing. Hansama holding on for dear life, and it's G2 in the rinse and repeat in round 2 who find the fight advantage.
How the hell did G2 just find it back? MKOI looked like they were about to take everything, but G2 with the teleports will get the picks and a Baron to boot.
A game-changing TP. This wasn't it. Lebrov flashes over the wall to set up for a trap on a JoJo. He gets away to safety. Meanwhile, on the flank, Elyoya trying to keep the rest of G2 away. You see a beautiful engage comes through from both Alvaro and JoJo to punish G2 on their engage. Hansama can't get close enough to dish out the damage, and the play was far too deep from G2. But now, the teleport that I was talking about comes through here. Koi stay for a very long time on the map. They get a lot of resources, but that means that there's a window for G2 to punish them. So Caps finds the flank onto Super, takes him out, and with the numbers advantage, G2 finds the fight.
JoJo also hit a vision cone on that bottom side of the map, so they knew the Orianna was on the opposite end and wouldn't be able to help out on this until it was way too late. G2, great heads-up decision-making in the moment.
Mel's, that's what I'm talking, guys. What it do?
Nice, good call, guys.
It was indeed a good call. It looked a little crazy when it started. They had us in the first half, I'm not going to lie. The first TP was bad. The second TP more than made up for it as G2 have a Baron now. They're sitting pretty. They were so far behind in terms of overall goal, but now they've got the 2K Red Bull Baron power play, taking away the red buff as well, and a bit tricky now for MKOI to approach.
But ultimately, I really think all this has done is bought G2 more time. I don't think that it's actually given them a significant foot up. I think it's just kind of equalized the game once more, because I'm looking constantly at Super's items, and he's not in a bad spot whatsoever. I imagine the Infinity Edge is up next, and when he gets it, I think G2's still going to run into the same problems that they've already been running into, which is, do they have the damage to kill the carries of Koi?
Yeah, I think G2 basically need to take this opportunity to get some towers down, hopefully get some control on the map, and maybe use that to fish for picks. Because again, I think if MKOI just step up in a 5v5, they should have a decent spot. But you can see here, they just don't have the control over the map to force their way in towards the Dragon. So it will be G2 picking up the third.
I will say, Skewmon level 16 on the Jarvan. I didn't notice that initially, but with the GA completed as well, he will be a significant backline threat that both JoJo and Super are going to have to deal with. They do have all of their summoner spells available, and with the Dragon just falling now, I imagine we find ourselves in a bit of downtime. Both teams going to be focusing on funneling resources into their carries. Super wants to take over to level 16, and really I think it's that experience difference that we're seeing acclimate for G2 that is really the only big downside that Koi find themselves in right now.
Koi trying not to concede too much space, but also have to be careful. In game 1, we saw it. In the previous series, we saw it as well. Sometimes G2 stick around for an extra wave. Wait to see if you step forward. by yourself. Go for those easy picks. It's sole point now for G2. MKOI are going to be forced to contest, but of course, as you highlighted, he's still 4 minutes away. So still a bit of posturing on this last wave of Baron.
Alvaro just TP top. Broken Blade is going to come through. There's a numbers advantage on the bottom side for G2, and I don't know if MKOI can hold.
Supa's chunked. Broken Blade stunned. Supa walking off to the side, but tier 2 still in jeopardy. G2 happy to just take that. Wanted to threaten in case MKOI misstepped, but didn't find anything else, so we'll just retreat.
And this is the downside of having an Orianna. She is very susceptible to plays on a side lane, and you can see there Alvaro worried about a potential play towards that top half of the map. Means that then you end up losing that turret on the bottom side as that Baron buff falls off.
But now we farm, gentlemen. Or we watch them farm, as it were. Cap's approaching a death cap. Very determined to make up for the damage that we said was lacking on this team. That's an indecisive build right there, is what I would say.
I may not be an expert on Galio builds, but I will say it is somewhat unconventional, but I think appropriate in this game.
Yeah. It's not set with a death cap. It's not like full Mashal build, you know? That makes sense. He is still a wizard.
That's true.
Albeit an unconventional one. Is Hansama, though, that is a scary item completion to come through. Infinite wave clear, constant uptime on the Ricochet. The Flicker Blades can do a lot of work.
These two AD carries are evenly matched in terms of their itemization, and this is why if you're a G2 fan, I would not want to sell you on the idea that this game is done and dusted, because as long as Supa lives, KOI have a way to turn this game around, and we know that in these clutch situations, he can be the man for KOI. Alvaro right now working very closely alongside him to make sure that he is safe. They're contesting this vision.
Ulti immediately trying to force more out from Supa. They get the flash, but LeBron is already raiding on the wall, and down goes Supa! What?
G2 were baiting it for so long. They managed to find the pick, and MKOI, that's disaster.
We saw it in game 1, we see it again. G2 punishing MKOI when they try to reclaim vision. G2 now fully descending into the base. They might not even need to wait for the soul to spawn. Mirwan looking for the pushback. Interrupt coming in from Caps, trying to keep Skewmon standing. It'll at least be one inhibitor down. 1 minute till the Baron, and they've got perfect setup now on the top side.
That may be one of the most poignant caster curses in history. Just as I'm talking about how Supa, as long as he is alive, KOI still have a way to fight back in this game. G2 say, okay, bet and kill him immediately, just like that.
Is it a caster curse or a game 2 curse for MKOI? Because it was game 2 last series where they had these leads and end up throwing them, and now game 2 here again. They had their moment to pick them off and to finish G2, it felt like, but Supa getting caught out twice now has cost MKOI in this game.
And it's so difficult for them to play a comfortable, safe game. There's a constant pressure point now in the mid wave that must be responded to. They're always going to be taking a risk. They don't know. Caps and Hansama are waiting there for them. One ward, which is instantly cleared, will reveal Hans, but MKOI, another overstep like that, and they're very likely out of this game up against a match point G2.
I do like the way G2 played it though. They held Broken Blade in that bush and just used the tremor sense to wait and see who was wandering around. So even though Skewmon went in, they already knew the members of MKOI were sticking around there. So it is G2 using the tools well, as just Supa kind of falling into that trap when he didn't need to.
MKOI posturing around the bottom side of the map. Of course, the luxury of G2 securing 3 Drakes is they can threaten the Soul and the Baron. 30 seconds still on that Drake. MKOI moving in. Blue Trinket reveals it. Lebrov, a massive flank.
Oh, the ward just died.
Around the corner. The ward goes down. They finally see Lebrov. It might be too late, but G2 turn off the objective. They're not sure. It's a bit of a split decision. They turn right back onto the Baron. 1K getting lower. G2 have taken the objective. They've taken the Baron. They're second of the game, and MKOI now retreated. Lebrov trying to herd them down, find the angle for the multi-man knockup. Exhaust goes in onto Caps. Skewmon kicks the fight off. Elliot standing Supa off to the backside for now, untouched. Lebrov trying to find the angle, but Jojopyun cleverly slows him, stops the initial approach.
Lebrov alone is just putting so much pressure on KOI, they can't make a decision.
Mirwan unstoppable now. Q3 ready to go. Footwork keeping him steady as Hansama now opening up, doing a decent bit of damage. Jojopyun off to the side, isolating Lebrov. That's the ulti down. Exhaust on a Jojopyun as well. The double knockup. Do they have the damage to finish this? Orianna flash over the wall. Skewmon now looking to follow. Jojopyun ready with the sidestep. The flag, the dragon. It's not going to connect. In the meantime, the dragon is going down in Soul Point, but G2, if they find this kill, and they will, are in a good position in the bottom side.
Mirror kill caps in the mid lane though, so you're still getting those trades back and forth as everyone on G2 is focused. Honestly, MKOI, Dragon, match a kill, I think you take that as MKOI.
Yeah, the fact that they stole away the soul, I think is so valuable. But Lebrov put so much pressure down onto Koi, it became very difficult for Koi to know what to do. So instead, the individual solo laners took it upon themselves. Jojo said, you know what, I'll just ulti, I'll put the pressure onto Lebrov. Meanwhile, that takes the rest of G2 away from Caps, allowing for Mirwin to get that kill onto him and completely allowing the Dragon to be secured for Koi. Well played overall by each member of Koi to get away with what was a very awkward situation.
Making the most of it. G2 giving up about a minute of their Baron buff to go on that merry chase. Soul point for both teams. Someone will get it on the next one, but will we make it there as G2 still have at least 2 waves to play on? Yo-Yo waiting in the darkness, but G2 are as well. Supa has to be careful not to step too far forward. Skewmon and Lebrov also on the way in. Decent damage now onto Mirwin. TP coming through as well. Jojo Queen about to come to the party. Lebrov, will he go over the wall as well? Yo-Yo trying to burn down Caps. TP response coming in from G2. Broken Blade on the way in. Alvaro's engage goes completely wide. And it's Hansama isolated with Jojo Queen. The shockwave is not going to connect. It's Hansama! Solo taking out Jojo! Solo diving the backline! Winning the fight for G2!
G2 find the plays that they need in the side lanes, and they pick off MKOI to bring the game back from the brink.
Beautiful positioning from Hansama to clean up the fight, to do the damage, and to put G2 on match point.
And Hansama might just be him. G2 keeping the pressure up. Last lonely stand as he will fall as well. The GA buying him but a brief moment. It is match point in Madrid for G2 Esports.
Questions of confidence are quickly being answered.
And I guess the real question is, who is the boss of top lane? Broken Blade, I'm a little skeptical.
I really thought he was just going to go Cho'Gath or something, you know?
It feels like you could start with the conventional answers to the champ.
Yes.
He's like, nah, straight to the weird stuff.
God. So, I'm going to be really honest. I think the Set pick really doesn't make any sense. Largely because Set's biggest problem is actually closing the gap onto his opponents, right? And I can definitely see in the lane matchup how he can abuse the fact of the little ghouls, he can get easy.
G2 are able to like set up and play around your trap line, play around these choke points with the Talia. That can be a way where you don't actually have to be the ones engaging. You can just try and play for this range advantage, play for poke, and make Supa essentially just useless because of the range discrepancy.
And this isn't the first time we've seen BB pull out the set. Spring, he did the same thing. It was Mbessa. That time it was Mirwin playing that Mbessa. He lost. Now this time Mbessa was banned. This time it's against a Yorick. And remember...
Do you think that's why?
Maybe. Yeah, it's the long con. They've been perma-banning Mbessa for this exact moment. And of course, again, for G2, they're on match point. They're feeling good. The coordination they were lacking in so many previous splits has been there. MKOI, the crowd behind them, we thought it would energize them, but it hasn't been enough for them to find those wins. Remember, for Elyoya, this is an LEC champion, but an LEC champion who has won 3 times in a studio. The potential to win here in front of this audience, in front of a home crowd, slowly dwindling away. Will need to step up as Alvaro already forced to flash back. Some aggressive posturing on the bottom side from G2 in level 1. Losing that flash is disastrous for this 2v2.
And Skewmon going to look for the invade on towards Elyoya. Can use that Sky Splitter to steal away a lot of these small little raptors. And Elyoya just trying to keep that aggro, keep them away from grouping up.
Storm Splitter obviously makes it so hard to trade. Elyoya
Gets it, though.
does get it. Skewmon's still pretty powerful, though. Has a passive stack.
Exactly. He did stack that one up. And he's going to bully him out, which means that they're doing the map split. So this is kind of fun because we've been casting League for a long time. Oh, I have to stand corrected. Elyoya's looking to fight back here, and here comes Alvaro. Lebrov looking to assist. No smite available for Elyoya, though.
And then a little bit of damage back onto Skewmon. Sky Splitter, a really long cooldown, but it's going to hit Alvaro at the very least. A little extra damage coming in from Lebrov. A few more autos. Absolute fist fight. We're 2:18 in. It's the 2v2 battle for this red buff. Elyoya buying a bit more time for his smite. Skewmon's is available, but he's only level 1. If he misses this smite, it'll be a disaster. Super and Hansama on the way as well. Sky Splitter means Skewmon manages to grab the red buff, and that means Elyoya's probably just a dead man walking. First blood, absolute disaster. 2 minutes in.
It's game 3. MKOI needed to win just given across 2 kills to G2, and it might be a third as this wave starts to trundle towards the tower.
An ambitious contest from Elyoya. Super level 2 underneath his tower. Skumond not going to get enough experience to get that level 3, but now this bot lane will have to be left isolated. Caitlyn plus Karma looking to keep this pressure up. And this is the foundation of the idea. By splitting the map like this, you allow the Caitlyn Karma to just be crazy lane bullies. You can chip away at the low-ranged Kai'Sa and make her life miserable. But the fact that Elyoya got the early level 2, well, he didn't even get level 2, he was still level 1 because he didn't quite get enough of the minions. They interrupt Hansama's base, nicely done there. But ultimately, things fall apart. 2 kills for G2 in the early game.
And this is devastating because Volibear, an incredible snowballing champion early on. Elyoya's going to find out the crab is down. Skumond did not reset. Wants to try to 3-quadrant Elyoya in this match point situation. We'll see if Elyoya can get back down to the bottom side of the map. Labrov trying desperately to hold that wave as Hansama will return to lane with the Cole.
Yeah, the problem here, though, is sure, you can get Elyoya to move bot lane and get the crab, but with Caitlyn now on reset, they're going to push that wave back out, which means that for Elyoya, he can't get in and try and steal away some of these camps, because you'll have Labrov more than likely now move over to protect that quadrant for Skumond. Elyoya just left level 3 with very little on the map for him to get.
Good news is he will get those Raptor respawns. He's also got Alvaro in the vicinity to help provide support. Level 3 is very close for Alvaro.
Moving in. Does just have the shape splitter. A bit extra poke. No root available as Supa now moving up to the top side of the map. Will play in this 1v1, but Broken Blade's level 5, so does need to still give a little bit of that respect. Obviously has a hard time getting on top of targets, but if Supa steps too far forward, easy haymaker into the face breaker.
The problem for this as well is that, oh, actually, Jojo.
Root likely to connect, but now pushing it in onto Caps. Caps hitting a threaded volley reasonably well, but Jojo Pune still has the advantage in terms of health. Labrov, the flash now coming out. Well played by Jojo. Flash back in response. Alvaro there to try to back him up, but just a flash for flash trade.
I really do love the way that Jojo doesn't retreat in the face of danger. He just goes forward, forcing the flash out from Caps early. He is forced to use his flash as well, but very well played by him. He still catches this wave thanks to Alvaro being in the area. They're trying to interrupt the base on Caps, and they're going to get it.
Decent damage going in. Tangle Barbs don't quite connect now. It's Alvaro who's going to be in trouble. Game paused.
I mean, Alvaro is guaranteed to die here. He overstayed. He tried to interrupt Caps' base. The root was going to come down onto Labrov. I'm very curious as to what the cause of the pause is, because Alvaro, he's pretty much guaranteed to lose his life in this situation.
Yeah, didn't have the flash available and didn't have the heal either, so we'll have to wait and see. It did just tick up, but I think that's more because the pauses happened, so yeah. It was on cooldown. And that is not where you want to be as MCoy. Alvaro now giving across a kill. You've already had to swap your bot laner out of this horrible matchup on the bottom lane as well, which means that Mirwin is going to be set behind, as this Caitlyn is so good at just pushing these waves and chipping away at those turret plates.
And it looks like G2 are the ones who initiated the pause. The player reported peripheral issues. So it's not something in the context of a game or a bug. Instead, it's a peripheral problem, which, again, being frozen as MCoy, not able to speak to each other in a pretty disastrous early game in a moment where your support is very likely about to die. This is probably the worst timed pause imaginable for the mental state of MCoy, but
it's also just quite frustrating for Jojo, because given the position he was just in, the way he outplayed that, traded flashes with the enemy mid laner, he's got to be thinking in that moment, okay, this is pretty good, but now if the enemy mid just gets a kill in exchange, then he's going to find himself behind in the 1v1.
Now, however, seems like we're getting ready to go back into game here. And there we are. Okay, there's kills. Everyone's dead. Jojo Pune and Alvaro are dead. Caps is dead. 2 for 1. That's not good. Skumond's also taking a drink.
We're going to need a replay.
That's actually very bad.
We're going to need a replay on that one. Was not here we go. Okay. So, we know that Alvaro wanted to interrupt the base. But, I mean, this is so disrespectful in the face of Labrov. We know that he's going to have the root coming back up. There it is. Jojo in this situation says, okay, I've got to try and at the very least get 1 for 1. The stun comes through, does end up trading 1 for 1, but the wave is now in an awkward spot. The dragon is secured.
Frankly, it is an absolute miracle that Jojo Pune got that kill back. He had like 30 HP, E'd into the minefield. I mean, good that MCoy can get something. They're fighting desperately to hold control over midwave, but this game was already slipping away from them, and it's only getting worse.
It definitely is, but at least the silver lining to those clouds is all that gold is on Lebrov. He's 3-0. Now, Karma can do some damage if she can get some items, but not ideal for G2. They would have loved some of that gold to go towards Caps in the mid lane.
I mean, the any % redemption speedrun is a thing to watch, but I thought we were in the LEC finals. Now Skewmon might be forced back. Nice knock back to the wall. Good follow-up CC there. Jojo Pyun going to try to finish the kill. Skewmon just got nowhere to go. He's too damn squishy. Jojo Pyun grabs that one.
These are the type of punishes that Koi need to find, and it's great that that kill does go over to Jojo. I feel like as a player in this series, he's been doing his absolute best in every single situation. He's been playing very well. So funneling resources into this Azir is definitely a strong potential win condition. Super not in a bad spot thanks to the swap, able to avoid the Caitlyn matchup, and he's doing pretty well in terms of farm.
Total damage dealt to champions. Lebrov top of the charts there, well earned. Only a slight bit of damage ahead of Jojo, but I do agree with you, Vetty. Like, this Azir can be a major threat. Dark Seal even picked up as well in the early stages. If Jojo can start to get some of these assists, he can be a major difference maker. With 30 seconds left on the objective, it looks like G2 shifting Hansama mid should net them with the control they need to get the objective.
And I think part of the reason they did this is there's a small difference in the flash timers. Jojo's will be up first. He has access to that ultimate. It is so easy to kill Caps in mid lane in the isolated play if Elyoya shows up. Instead, it's Hansama, it's Lebrov. Not an easy target. Easy to get that prio, however.
Just want to highlight, you can see in the bottom left, the timer of the flash of Azir is a little mismatched with what we're seeing on the icon. So just keeping track of that 2 minutes based on what we're seeing in the bottom left until that flash is available for Jojo. And we imagine that it's around the same time for Caps as well.
A good call out. Overlay a little bit misleading there. Still a lot of time to that flash available, but G2 leveraging the mid prio. This is why they put Hansama back in the mid lane. Easy to keep that push going, but Jojo Pyun now coming in. Elyoya ready to go through the wall if necessary. 2 grubs already down. Broken Blade in the area. They have to be careful. The angle for Broken Blade's ulti could be devastating. Super free firing. One more auto to proc the plasma. Broken Blade walking away. The grit now starting to fade as well, but G2 again, they got 2. They're walking away. They don't want to commit too much more.
I wasn't sure how much MCoy wanted to commit to that. Jojo looked like he was in a decent spot for the shuffle, but not wanting to commit when there were still flashes available on Hansama and wouldn't get onto some of these key targets. Still, G2 keeping the gold lead and starting to keep these objectives in their favor.
That they are. Concerning position to be in, but MCoy have done a decent job of at least stemming the bleeding of that pretty rough early game. Again, Alvaro on this Nico. Bit overeager in the mid lane, but this is a champion we've seen him so many times single-handedly turn the tides back in MCoy's favor. However, Jojo Pyun, the guy who after that kill mid lane kind of expected to be the main character, is now in a tough spot here as Caps is getting all that support from Lebrov. Makes it hard for him to really press this advantage at all.
Lebrov is doing a good job of just, as you say, supporting Caps though, and especially with so much of the criticism leveraged towards Lebrov, this has been a fantastic time for him. This has been 9 straight finals for G2, and so far 2 of the losses have been with Lebrov and Skewmon on the roster, so for them to be able to pick up a potential victory here at the very end of 2025 would mean massive things, not only for G2 as an organization and the fans, but for both of those newcomers on the roster. And
again, the story for both these teams is resilience. Who can hold on to that level of play, that level of performance as you go deeper into this best of 5. MCoy can't afford to falter again.
Also just an exciting year for the LEC. 3, in the event that G2 do win, that would be 3 different champions throughout the year, which is the first time in the history of the LEC.
And it would stop G2 from going back to back to back, but in the really bad way.
It certainly would.
As much as I appreciate the various rap battle gifts over here, that would be the first time that one's been used negatively.
It would be, yeah, I mean, it's been a super exciting year, seeing Casey start off with a victory into Koi. Our top 4 has been super competitive, and then Fnatic coming up clutch this weekend. Of course, Koi still in a decent position, even if they find themselves at a goal deficit for now. Elyoya on the flank.
Thinks he has the isolated 1v1 90 caliber net, though. Takes him out as well as the Ghost, and now he just continues to step up. Wall set down. Super going to get on the right side of it. It's Elyoya who now has to be careful. Level 7, will his ulti come out? The flash, the sidestep flash coming out as well. The root now locked down. The trap to come through. Hansama grabs it.
And it's an easy pickup for G2 as they punish the gank from Elyoya. They get the flash out from him as well. Nice collapse comes through from Caps as he sets up the play on the bot side, and this is exactly what you need to be doing on this Talia.
And this is exactly what you need to be doing into the pick of a Kai'Sa. The long range on the Caitlyn, punishing in the 2v2, now getting the plays with the teammates as well as Jojo wants to get something back. Good side steps, really putting the hurt onto Caps there.
Starting to feel like the lone source of hope for this team. The only person with an individual gold lead. Skewmon now 1,000 gold up. Hans Sama, again, last game was the Rek'Sai who got to just keep on pushing. This game it's Hans Sama, makes it so difficult for Supa. And we've talked about this before, Rob. This Kai'Sa looks so good for us in LEC, but we see the Corkis and they never entirely shut her down. The Caitlyn's a different story. Kai'Sa is not an infallible pick. She can fall really far behind and feel useless if this gold lead continues to extend for Hans Sama.
I mean, credit to Koi, they have been able to get Supa out of this matchup as much as possible, and he's doing pretty good in the farm, but the fact that now that early kill has come through, the plates being funneled into Hans Sama as well, he's built up about a 600 gold lead. Remember, a lot of the gold lead that G2 had, Dagda mentioned it earlier, it's sitting on the support.
It is true.
So I don't think it's all doom and gloom just yet for Koi. I think that they still have solid side lane threats, thanks to both Jojo on the Azir and Mirwin on this Yorick. The Drake situation isn't ideal, though, as so far in this series, the first dragon has come quite late. Oh, that's redemption as well, through the barrier.
Trying to snipe. Flash in. There's just no getting away from the Volibear. He's going to ult, but Skewmon also has access to his own ultimate. Can't just go right under the tower. Does he want to risk it? The answer is no. They've delayed the reset. Very likely that Hans Sama can at least get another plate.
Exactly. I think it might even be the towers. Alvaro because able to escape away from that one, but G2 putting the hurt on this bottom side, and Hans Sama is picking up plate after plate. He's eating good.
Broken Blade focused on taking down the Ghoul on the top side, but you can see the fans of MKOI looking to rally their supporters. The players definitely need that energy now.
And this is where the resets come through. Hans Sama, Yuntal's now completed, going to enter up to mid, but hold on.
Alvaro gets hit by the flick. Threaded volley continues to come out. Oh, the big one. The extra large rock to finish the kill. G2 again just keeping this pressure up. Jojupyun doing what he can, but it's just not enough.
An uncharacteristic performance from Alvaro. We've seen him getting caught out, well, twice now so far in this series. Of course, the early skirmishing, not really his fault at what happened at level 1, but a player that we consider one of the key parts. You mentioned earlier, Dracos, part of that engine, the heart of what makes Koi work. Elyoya and Alvaro, the way they work together, the way they make early game things happen. So far, they've been shut down, they've been stymied, and it's Skewmon and Lebrov that run the Rift.
But V12 seems to be the engine that G2 have stolen away here to keep themselves going, and V12 seems to be the difficulty of boulder that Caps is thrown into the faces of MKOI. They don't look like they have any real answer for the movement that G2 have around the map. They are faster, they are in position, and again, look at where Hans Sama is now on the map, pushing in that top side, putting more pressure onto these towers, but also crucially, keeping pressure on this top side with 40 seconds until that next objective.
There are shutdowns, or at least one shutdown. And it's on Lebrov. Not where you necessarily expect to see it, but again, a potential 300 extra gold for MKOI to help shift things back in their favor. Jojo still feeling confident in the 1v1, but a nice flick from Caps might change that. Skewmon on the way in as well. Ulti coming in, the ace in the hole, decent damage, and Caps is now on the chase. Redemption coming out as well, and down goes Jojupyun, and that's, I guess, why you give money to the Karma.
Pick after pick. Caps is definitely waking up here in game 3. The ulti will whiff from Elyoya, and things are just falling apart across the map. Mirwin struggling in the 1v1. We kind of expected this from the matchup as both top laners have been rather quiet. Objective gonna be secured, uncontested from G2. And the way this game is going, they're looking to clean sweep this summer finals.
And it's only getting harder. We talked about those glimmers of hope. Hey, you've been able to get some CS into Supa, but they're just getting further and further apart. The lead that Jojupyun had held onto for so long is now finally gone entirely. The Herald stacked in G2's favor. Soul Point 2 minutes away, it feels like. And MKOI running out of options as Jojupyun may find himself caught out. A nice dash back to Shifting Sands to walk away as Alvaro not going to be able to find the play on the top side.
Cap running into Supa. Good damage once again. Oh my goodness,
well, I
Caps.
think Supa's running into Caps. Yeah.
He certainly is quite the proficient rock weaver in this game. Damage continues to come through. Looks like they're going to shift him towards the bot side of the map in anticipation of the dragon spawning soon. Set can go back to the top lane with the TP available. Jojo setting up a slow push that Broken Blade's going to be more than happy to catch. The map state is just so favorable for G2 right now with their lane assignments, the wave states, the timing of the next objective, the Caitlyn threatening the mid-tier 1. Things are just rapidly falling apart for Koi.
And even just trying to take that space back is going to be so difficult as G2 open up a mid, Rift Trail to try and take the mid tower. You don't even have the pressure on the bottom side from this Yorick. You don't even need the Rift Tower, it looks like. Tower going to fall. MKoi trying to defend.
Calling all 3 members down. Caps still pushing in the side lane. You can see even Jojo's forced to move over the second he sees that play start to happen, just in case they need the support. G2 fans feeling optimistic about this one. 3-0 easy.
I wasn't sure what to expect from
Yeah, we kept going, and I think there's a language barrier here where I'm like, yes, good banter, I think.
Easy though, easy I got.
Oh, for Supa, it's tough. Still able to pick up the CS, but the tower falling very quickly. And again, the game only gets more difficult once that mid lane tower breaks down. So much more passive vision available. And we talk about how good it can be for the Kai'Sa. Once there's that CC coming through, she can find her way into the back line. But again, the vast majority of the CC, when MKoi are behind like this, is so telegraphed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult for MKoi to try and stop it as Jojo going to get chased down now.
Jojo setting up the tower. Showstopper comes out. Jojo Pune caught out. Flash back. It's a nice look at a little escape. Sidestep on the threaded volley. It's just not enough.
And G2 are playing both sides of the map. They get the play on top. Dragon being taken by Skewmond. And Abrov is pushing MKoi off of mid. Everything is going sideways.
A little bit of damage down onto him as Skewmond starts Drake in their face. G2 are just disgustingly far ahead. It might come down to a 50-50, however.
No, Mirren's TP'd away. MKoi want nothing to do with this. It's going to be the third Dragon gone to G2, and that'll be that.
That it will. Despair starts to set in. MKoi, again, they need to rally. They need time in this game that they might not have.
They need to find some sort of miracle, but Skewmond's not going to give them the chance.
MKoi until today, it's been undefeated in Madrid when it came to series, but that miracle went to Fnatic. And now it's the Kings of Madrid that are maybe happen to opt out of the throne and give it back to G2 who have ran it for so long.
Such a good LEC caster. You managed to sneak Kings in a way that didn't start with G2. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. I've been
we'll
studying the books.
the bonus. Get a Legacy and Dynasty in there. But it's a damn good point, right? We thought that this would be the thing that galvanized them playing in Madrid. That felt like the moment where the story changed for MKoi. No longer an outsider looking in on the top 4, but the best team in the league. Felt like that story could once again repeat itself here in the finals, but it just has not been the case.
I mean, of course, G2 have faced criticism pretty much all year, specifically on the changes that they made. After their last 2 international performances over the last 2 years, G2's been criticized for what their ceiling was, and so the organization had to make changes in order to shift their expectations, and this is the culmination of those changes. The year-long project that has now come to fruition. Skewmond and Labrov, with the leads that they've been able to build for themselves, has been a joy to see. And G2 are at the precipice of getting themselves a 3-0 clean sweep against Koi. And Koi, they're going to have to demonstrate their tenacity once more. They've showed it before. They've showed us what they're capable of. And I turn my attention to that man in the mid lane, Jojo. Supa with some nice trades.
Root coming out. Alvaro doing his best to be, but Skewmond just goes right in there. Supa now running for his life. Skewmond has overstayed. So we'll start to retreat. MKoi holding on for now. That he has not. They did get through the Sky Splitter shield, though, and that is a start.
But they're going to need quite a few more items. They need to buy time. The thing is, G2 don't need to give it to them. They're setting up around the Otacon. You'll notice Caps already rotating towards the mid lane. Broken Blade looking for Jojo.
Forced to flash back as Zoya was ready with the ult. The Sun Disc helping MKoi take a bit more control here. Bounty available on the Otacon if they can steal it. Mirren walking down, but he has been spotted. Good vision from G2. Hansama trapping the pit, and MKoi trying to find a way to fight along the bottom lane. Caps now going in, kicking off the fight. Supa waiting over the wall, but he doesn't have a good angle in. Skewmond relatively untouched. Jojo Pune instantly retreating, as is Elioya. All of MKoi in free fall. Reset on the Otacon, but not quite. It's still only 7K. MKOI don't have a way back in. It's likely just going to G2.
The zone control with the traps, the Talia wall, Lebrov on the Karma with the poke. It feels so difficult for KOI to really gain any space around the objective. They're chipped apart before they can even get close. The objective falls, and G2 are just running the rift here at match point.
As soon as you come into this, the slows coming through make it impossible for LEC to really close that distance. A great wall from Caps to bring in the cavalry. And a Jojo is just looking to escape with Supa. It's every man for himself as MKOI realize there is no way they can fight against G2 in this position.
Supa doing what he can to, again, to just hoover up those waves. 2 items now for Jojo, but they're continuing to fall further and further behind. 30-19 the score on Flowers. Extra XP coming in for G2 as well. Caps close to ticking over to level 15. Jojo only approaching 14 now. I mean, the gold tells the 2 players who have not participated in the game, essentially Mirwin and Broken Blade, are even. Everything else is in favor of G2.
Absolutely. And again, Hans Sama, I mean, the word quiet carry isn't really quite accurate because he hasn't been quiet at all.
He flashed forward on Sivir face first.
That's what I'm saying. He's had a fantastic series, and it all comes back to that analogy we were using earlier, which is that his team is kind of setting him up, but at the end of the day, he's the guy that hits it home for his team in this series. He's the guy that swings for the home run, dunks the ball into the net, and he's looking to do the same thing again.
Hell yeah, American sports betting.
Hell
Keep
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think if I bring in hurling, nobody's going to follow.
Probably
so
not, but I'll just say, I know about as much about curling as I do about any other sport, Rob, so I'll just respond the same way I did to Betty. Hell yeah.
He runs the wickets.
Sure, those are words. I didn't know we were bringing Harry Potter into it, but
Okay,
fair enough.
cricket.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets
Here we go, Elioya.
Elioya. Bit of a catch here onto Broken Blade. Has to be careful. A lot of grit stacked up. Ulti back from Broken Blade. Gets the grit down. Decent damage, but it looks like he is likely to fall. The Super Blast Cone! But Supa there to follow. A shutdown. Perhaps the start of something for MKOI.
They need to get everything they can, but look at the mid, look at the top. They need to now move back to try and defend, but I think G2 are willing to call this bluff a dragon. They're just going to take the towers.
I mean, at the very least, it's something for MKOI. Getting that gold into Supa's pockets, denying the soul away from G2, getting the bounty on the bot tower as well. Like, it's a good sequence of play to reduce that gold gap. It was a 6.5k gold difference. It's reduced to 4.2. And
oh, they stuck around again, Betty.
Jojo wants extra.
yeah,
But now he's been spotted.
He doesn't have TP.
Does not have.
Into Supa's pockets, denying the soul away from G2, getting the bounty on the bot tower as well. Like, it's a good sequence of play to reduce that gold gap. It was a 6.5k gold difference. It's reduced to 4.2. And
oh, they stuck around again, Betty.
Jojo wants extra. But now he's been spotted.
He doesn't have TP.
Does not have TP. This is looking like he's going to be done. Lebrov shepherding him for Skumon to finish the job. Hans Sama likely to be donated the kills. He does have the ace in the hole available. Jojopyun going in for a bit of tower damage. Push back onto Skumon, but he knows it's done. Ace in the hole finishes it. Hans Sama on a killing spree. Again, though, still got the gold a bit closer, despite what it cost them.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best thing you can do in this situation for KOI. I like that they're still looking for punishes where they can. They catch Broken Blade without his flash on the bot side of the map. Mirwin able to push out that top wave. He's been able to build up a very healthy CS lead now, largely because of the slow push that he had on the top side. And you can see that there are avenues with which KOI could come back into the game. If G2 overstay their welcome, have poor positioning, and KOI can continue to find these picks, that is a way in which they can fight back here in Game 3.
I want to share that hope with you, Betty, but I'm just looking at a rapid fire cannon now completed on Hans Sama. He's a full item ahead of anyone on MKOI, and it just becomes so difficult from this position. You can see how strong G2 are pushing through here.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the odds are not in KOI's favor.
Yeah, it's just, my optimism is dwindling here pretty rapidly.
And you just have to hope that MKOI have more faith in themselves than you do in this situation. Because you're right, the math of League of Legends is stacked against them. The avenues of attack, the angles of approach are few to none, and it's going to take an incredible play from the side of MKOI to bring this one back.
But that's the thing, that math is probability, right? And To Vetti's credit, we've seen teams throw bigger leads than this, so we'll have to see if G2 can close this out cleanly.
I mean, it was Koi that threw against G2 with a lead bigger than this. We'll see if they can find that same punish onto G2 in this match. TP's coming through. I wonder if the Baron Force is finally going to come through from G2.
Oh, that trap line. No vision, no setup, no flanking ward angles.
And here we go, the moment of truth.
It's so hard. This game feels impossible to play if you give this Baron up. They have a Caitlyn. Weathering the siege will be a tall task. Jojo Pune has to face check. 2K getting lower. G2 take the Baron. Koi trying to sprint out as quickly as they can. Jojo Pune, the ace in the hole. Elio is going to body block. Quick flash back from Jojo to stay standing as G2 just keep the pressure on.
A clean Baron with Koi given no room to respond. No objectives for them to play for right now. Remember that they've already gotten all of the tier 2 towers. But Waveclear still holding strong for now on the side of Koi. G2 going to reset, spend what gold they can, and then they'll threaten the base of Koi, potentially for the last time of summer.
And that's where it just gets so tough. The Weaver's Wall from Caps, incredible at using this siege potential across 3 lanes. Han Sama with the rapid fire cannon, being able to take pop shots at both turrets and people underneath those structures. MKOI need to get creative. They need to fish for picks. They need to try and catch G2 before they set up outside the base.
And it's not enough to survive 2 minutes of siege. You need to survive a soul fight if you even want to contest it, or live on to face a G2 with a massive lead, a Baron buff, and a soul. We're only a minute 20 from that objective. We're going to find more and more ways to say everything is stacked against MKOI. We're short an Elder, but we're getting pretty close to everything else. As Skewmon face checking.
I mean, the thing with G2 is their siege is good, especially with Caitlyn. But Jojo is doing his best to wave clear. They're going to overstack on the bot wave. They have the members to keep this wave from getting to the tower, or maybe not.
Weaver's Wall comes in from Caps. Keeps Han Sama safe so we can start to auto this tower. So much damage going in as Elio flashes in. Ulti back coming in for Broken Blade, though. It's Elio who's been caught out. Alvaro! 4 members, but the follow-up damage is just not there. He finally found the engage, but it's too damn late. MKOI getting run down in their base. G2, again, unrelenting, poised to take the series.
G2 still have a wave, and there's only 3 members of MKOI left to hold against the onslaught.
G2 pushing in, closing out. Supa not enough in the face of this lineup with a 10K gold lead. A perfect 3-0-2 finals. They fell flat, but in summer, it is resilience. It is redemption as G2 return to the top of the LEC.
A victorious G2, a disappointed MKOI. They've had an incredible year, but to fall at the final hurdle in front of their home crowd must be so frustrating for the players, and you could see it. But it was a tough final as G2 came to play, and they absolutely dominated on the Rift.
MKOI on the day couldn't take them down, but MKOI over the course of summer have been incredible opponents, but it's G2 who find themselves back at the top, back in front of the trophy and at the top of the mountain.
And the trophy ceremony presented by Kia, well earned by G2, no question of who was the better team on the day. In 2025 for LEC has all about who shows up when it matters most. Today, that was G2 Esports.
For LeBron holding that trophy, this is the 4th finals that he has been to. It has been Elio who's denied him before, but him with the rest of the team stepped up massively today.
G2 putting Skewmon and LeBron at the forefront of the trophy lift. The roster changes that they made to put G2 at a higher level in the hopes of showing that they can still compete internationally and they can still be the top dogs of Europe. It took them all year to do it, but they do win a title here in 2025. And they do it in Madrid in a clean 3-0 fashion.
And again, that man, so much vitriol, so much hate thrown his way. He himself knew that he did not live up to the expectations put on his shoulders the second he put on that jersey and stepped into those finals. But today was a different story. The start of a different era. A LeBron who's a champion.
What an exciting year it's been for the LEC. 3 different champions across the year. G2 in every single final. And today, they really came to play. That man on your screen absolutely delivered. And huge credit to the organization and the growth that they've been able to make throughout 2025. We now send G2, MKOI, and Fnatic to this year's World Championship in China. And we see how they stack up against the international competition.
A proud moment for G2, showing